Hello, I'm studying learning English today, and I'm watching the YouTube video and to improve my listening skill. Okay, today's subject is how it happens when you break a bone.
Roughly 50% of people will break.
But then for roughly
Roughly 50% of people will break
50% of people.
a bone at some point in their lives. Roughly 50% of people will break a bone at some point in their lives. Roughly 50% of people.
Roughly 50, roughly 50% of people
Will break a bone
will break a bone
at some point in their lives.
at some point of life.
Roughly 50% of people
Roughly 50% of people
will break a bone
will break a bone. Will break a bone. Will break a bone
at some point in their lives.
at some point of life.
But what roughly 50% of people will
Roughly 50% of people will break a bone. Will break a bone at some point in their life.
break a bone at some point in their.
Will break a bone.
Roughly 50% of people will break a bone at some point in their lives.
At some point of your life.
But whether the cause is as mundane as
But what are the goals?
slip on the ice, or as dramatic as a tightrope walking accident, broken as slip on break a bone at some point in their life.
At some point of your life.
But whether the cause is
But what are the goals?
as mundane as slip on the ice, or as dramatic as a tightrope walking accident, mundane as slip on the ice, or as dramatic as a tightrope walking accident, is as mundane as slip on the ice, or as dramatic as a tightrope walking accident, mundane as slip on the ice, or as dramatic as a tightrope walking accident, broken bones on the ice, or as dramatic as a tightrope walking accident, mundane as slip on the ice, or as dramatic as a tight.
Or as dramatic.
But whether the cause is as mundane as slip on the ice at some point in their
But
lives.
whether the
cause is as mundane.
Whether the cause is just mundane as
Slip on the ice.
As slip on the ice.
Or as dramatic as a tightrope walking accident.
Tightrope walking action. Or as dramatic as a tightrope walking action.
As mundane as slip on the ice.
Mundane. Mundane. Or where the cause is as mundane as a slip on the ice.
Or as dramatic as a tightrope walking.
Or as dramatic as a tightrope walking accident.
Broken bones tend to heal the same way.
Breaking bone tend to heal the same way.
Tightrope walking accident. Broken bones tend to heal the same way.
Tend to heal the same way.
As a tightrope walking accident. Broken bones tend to heal the same way.
Tend to heal the same way.
The human body's 200 plus bones.
The human body have 200 plus bones. The human body 200 plus bones.
Come in many shapes and sizes. The human body's 200 plus bones come in many shapes and sizes. Referred to by medical professionals as
medical professional.
Short bones, long bones, flat bones, and a catch-all category of irregular bones.
Irregular bone.
Flat bones and the catch-all category
Catch-all.
of irregular bones.
Irregular bone.
Flat bones and the catch-all as short bones, long bones, flat bones, and the catch-all category of
The catch-all category of irregular bone.
Irregular bones. Despite their differences, bones
Despite it,
generally have a rigid structure composed of a protein matrix. Bones generally have a rigid, irregular bones.
irregular bone.
Despite their differences,
Despite of this process,
bones generally have a rigid structure composed of a protein matrix. Bones generally have a rigid structure. Irregular bones. Despite their differences, bones generally have a rigid structure composed of a protein matrix that's dotted. Bones generally have a rigid structure composed of a protein matrix that says bones generally have a rigid structure composed of a protein matrix. Differences, the catch-all category of irregular bones. Despite their differences,
despite
catch-all category of irregular bones. Despite their differences,
despite their differences,
bones generally have a rigid structure.
Bones generally have a rigid structure. Rigid structure.
Composed of a protein matrix.
Composed of protein matrix.
That's dotted with bone cells.
That's dotted with bone cells.
And reinforced with minerals containing calcium matrix. That's dotted with bone cells.
Dotted with bone cells.
And reinforced with minerals containing calcium. Inside these stiff exteriors is spongy marrow containing stem cells that can divide and differentiate into specialized cell types containing calcium. Inside these stiff exteriors is spongy marrow containing stem cells that can divide and differentiate into specialized cell types. Bones are also penetrated by blood vessels and nerves. Specialized cell types. Bones are also penetrated by blood vessels and nerves. Specialized cell types. Bones are also penetrated by blood vessels and nerves, which relay cell types. Bones are also penetrated by blood vessels and nerves. Specialized cell types. Bones are also penetrated by
bones are also penetrated by blood
vessels and nerves.
Blood vessels and nerves.
Specialized cell types. Bones are also penetrated by blood.
Bones are also penetrated by blood
vessels and nerves, which relay the searing pain signal,
which relay the searching pain signal associated with the break.
Associated with a break.
Associated with break.
Since these nerves are encased in hard tissue, they're very associated with a break. Since these nerves are encased in hard tissue,
since these nerves are encased in hard tissue,
associated with a break. Since these nerves are encased in hard tissue,
since these nerves are encased in hard tissue,
they're very difficult to study.
They're very difficult to study.
So we still don't know exactly why broken bones hurt so much. So we still don't know exactly why broken bones hurt so much. Study. So we still don't know.
So we still don't know
exactly why.
We still don't know. So we still don't know exactly why
broken bones hurt so much.
Broken bones hurt very much. Why broken bones hurt so much?
So we still don't know exactly
So we still don't know
why broken bones hurt so much.
broken bones are smart.
But we do know that long bones are the most likely to break, since they often take the brunt of the impact from a fall. Long bones are the most likely to break, since they often take the brunt of the impact from a fall. That long bones are the most likely to break, since they often take the brunt of the impact from a fall. That long bones are the most likely to break, since they often take the brunt of the impact from a fall.
Impact from the fall.
That long bones are the most likely to break, since
Most likely.
bones hurt so much.
Most likely.
But we do know that long bones are the most likely to break, since
The long bone is most likely to break.
they often take the brunt of the impact from a
Stay of the brunt of the impact from
fall.
fall.
Long bones are the most likely to break, since they often take the brunt of the impact from a fall.
Impact from fall.
Whether an accident causes a clean break or a splintering crack, any kind of fracture makes the blood vessels inside the bone rupture, causing internal bleeding. Fall. Whether an accident causes a clean break or a splintering crack, any from a fall. Whether an accident causes a clean break,
Whether an accident causes a clean break
or a splintering crack,
or a splintering crack,
any kind of fracture makes the blood vessels inside the bone rupture. Splintering crack. Any kind of fracture makes the blood vessels inside the bone rupture. Splintering crack. Any kind of fracture makes the blood vessels inside the bone rupture. Splintering crack. Any kind of fracture
Any kind of fracture
makes the blood vessels inside the bone rupture, causing internal. Any kind of fracture makes the blood vessels inside the bone rupture. Splintering crack. Any kind of fracture
Any kind of fracture
makes the blood vessels inside the bone rupture, causing internal bleeding and inflammation. Blood vessels inside the bone rupture, causing internal bleeding and inflammation. This signals the body to start the first step of the healing process, inflammation. This signals the body to start the first step of the healing process and inflammation. This signals the body to start the first step of the healing process and inflammation. This signals the body to start the first step of the healing process.
The first step of the healing process.
This signals the body to start the first step of the healing process.
This signals the body to start the first step of the healing process.
The inflammatory phase. The body to rupture, causing internal bleeding and inflammation. This signals the body to start the first step of the healing process, the inflammatory phase. For the next week, the body floods the injury site with immune cells, which remove damaged tissue and help prepare the site for healthy new tissue to grow. The cells also release signaling molecules that recruit stem cells to the area. As they arrive, these stem cells differentiate into chondrocytes. These cells use the clotted blood at the break site as a scaffold to build callus made of cartilage. Cartilage can grow very quickly, to build callus made of cartilage. Cartilage can grow very quickly, making it a useful temporary patch. Cartilage can grow very quickly, making it a useful temporary patch.
Useful temporary patch.
But it's much weaker than bone.
But it's much weaker than bone.
Grow very quickly, making it a useful temporary patch. But it's much weaker than bone.
But it's much weaker than bone.
So over the following weeks, some of the chondrocytes and stem cells develop into special bone-building cells called osteoblasts that can create a stronger bony callus. Once the bony callus is complete, the remodeling phase can begin. Over the next few months, another type of cell eats away at the bony callus as osteoblasts lay down new bone tissue. This phase is where most of the bone healing happens, restoring the injury site to its previous shape. But the healing timeline varies widely, depending on a patient's diet, how much rest they're getting, and how messy the break is. A clean break generally heals the fastest, and doctors use casts and splints to keep clean break generally heals the fastest.
Faster.
And how messy the break is.
How messy the break is.
A clean break generally heals the fastest.
A clean break generally heals the fastest.
And doctors use casts and splints to keep bones aligned as they heal. Fastest. And doctors use casts and splints to keep bones aligned as they heal. But if the bone has been splintered into tiny fragments and significantly displaced, surgery may be required to put those pieces back in place. And if a bone does heal while misaligned, a surgeon would need to refracture it. And if a bone does heal while misaligned, surgeon would need to refracture place. And if a bone does heal while misaligned, a surgeon would need to refracture it, realign it, and then use pins, plates, or screws to hold the bone together. Realign it, and then use pins, plates, or screws to hold the bone together. When the remodeling phase is over, there may be a slight bump at the fracture site, but this typically resolves over time, leaving the bone just as strong as its site. Leaving the bone just as strong as it was before. Naturally, the strength of our bones varies from person to person, and older populations are more likely to break their bones in the first place, since bone density tends to decrease with age. Researchers are still investigating why this happens.
Researchers
are still investigating why this happens. But fortunately, we already with age. Researchers are still investigating why this happens. But fortunately, we already know the best way to keep bones strong. Why this happens. But fortunately, we already know the best way to keep bones strong.
We all know the best way to keep bones strong.
Even when they aren't healing, bones are constantly remodeling, adjusting their density and strength to the amount of force they're typically under. So exercises like walking, running, and weightlifting all stimulate your bones to grow denser. Just make sure whatever activity you're doing is relatively safe, because there's nothing humorous about a broken humerus. Ready to keep learning? Watch these videos to either challenge what you think you know or learn more about what you don't. Roughly 50% of people will break a bone at some point in their lives. But whether the cause is as mundane as a slip on the ice or as dramatic as a tightrope walking accident, broken bones tend to heal.
Breaking bones tend to heal. Breaking bones tend to heal. Breaking bones tend to heal.